Fatima, a Han Chinese Muslim revert, was studying in Canada before she met her husband Ahmad while on holiday in Shanghai. Whereas Ahmad, a Pakistani, has had a long association with China when he was studying there for many years. As a modern Han Chinese girl who was also studying overseas in Canada, how did Fatima manage to get to know about Islam to the extent that she would decide to embrace the religion?
I think it was during the time when I was in Canada, because in Canada the environment is more open, and then there are a lot more Muslims in Canada. A lot of them are second, third generation Muslim, who are basically also need to learn a lot of things. They were born in Canada and then raised in Canada, so maybe their knowledge about Islam is also very limited. So in Canada there were a lot of lectures, classes you can go for Muslims and non-Muslims to go to attend. So I went to a lot of those kind of lectures, and then I was overwhelmed by how warm people treated me. Like, it was so different from what I heard about Muslims in China. Because before I met him, or before I got to know about Islam, my knowledge about Islam was I was very ignorant. Like many of the Chinese people, young people especially. Like, a lot of stereotype about Muslims. They're very violent or close-minded people. But then when I really get to know a lot of Muslims in Canada and later in China too, it was totally the opposite. So, and then a lot of things in Islam were not very different from what I believed before as a person, like as a non-Muslim. Like the justice, peace, and discipline are not different from what I believed. So that was very different than what I thought. So after I came back from Canada, I decided, okay, this is what I want to be, too. So I reverted in Shanghai, and then we got married.
According to Fatima, it was a huge task for her to convince her family about her reverting to Islam, especially there are so many misconceptions about Islam in China.
It was very difficult. It was very difficult in the beginning. They were okay with generally a lot of things, like if you want to believe in something, they're okay. But then they're not okay with a lot of the change in the habit. Like, you can't eat pork anymore, and then you have to wear hijab everywhere. They feel a little bit humiliated. Like, because people look at them differently. Oh, why your daughter is like this? So my parents also bear a lot of stress, and then I think I need to pay a lot of thanks to them for their tolerance.
For the new Muslim reverts, especially for the ladies, there are always the challenges of wearing the hijab. However, Fatima seemed to have taken it in her stride. Even her husband was pleasantly surprised by her transformation.
I think it's very important to understanding the why you're wearing it. That especially also for Muslim women too. A lot of them don't choose not to wear it because they don't understand the meaning of it. It's not just for your husband to protect you from not being seen by other men. The purpose is to protect yourself. So before when I was not didn't meet him when I was in Canada, actually I dressed very, like every other modern girl would do in Canada. That's also a very open society. But then the thing is, once I start wearing it, I feel like I'm having more respect for myself. That I'm not just a piece of object for other men to see and enjoy. That what you see inside me is more important than what I look. So I generally feel much better. Here in Shanghai, a lot of Chinese people don't understand. They have a lot of stereotype about Muslims. Once you start wearing this, then they will think that you're just working at a Lanzhou Ramen or some small kind of restaurant. And then they don't want to show a lot of respect or they will start pointing at you and speaking behind you. Okay. So generally I think the society is very ignorant on this thing.
Wearing hijab, it was for me, I didn't even expect that much, that if I had a wife ever even from Pakistan, that she would be even wearing hijab. Because I was like the area she pointed out in Pakistan, middle class or high class, So the people or the girls, they work around me, like doctors or physicians, So if anyone, my partners from that corner, that group of people. So I wasn't expecting that much. So it was very surprising for me that one day after we got nikah and she went back to Canada, and one day she wanted to show me something, I had something to show you on like, Skype. And so what's that? And she sent me a few pictures. I said, what? Did you start wearing hijab? I said, yeah. And I told her I feel like she really looked beautiful
MashaAllah.
than before, And I also had a lot more respect, and I feel very happy. And that, she's really following, she's really putting effort. And I was so thankful to God. And I put my head down to Allah and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala.
For the young couple who are coming from different cultural backgrounds, the challenges they met were not only coming from the in-laws, but also from their own respective families.
The challenges were there, of course, for a couple of years of battles and, not that much from society. I think, friends and circle, they were very cooperative, they were fine. But from parents also, even I'm a Muslim, I'm born in a Muslim family, and it's like, I think I had more challenges from my own family, Muslim families too, not just, like the Chinese counterpart, they are also my parents. So there are a few, but no pain, no gain, right? They need some time to accept it. So I think still sometimes they have some battle in their mind, especially my Chinese parents-in-law. They're battling with themselves, I know, like today she explained here to you, and I also realized that, yeah, it's not easy job for them. They had a lot of, in Asian culture overall, wherever you're born in Asia, so there is something called society pressure.
Yeah.
So our lot of decisions are not, because we are not a free society.
Yeah.
Maybe some aspect we say, okay, we are modern, we stop dressing up modestly, okay, but from inside of us we are not very free on making decisions. So you see in the other world, like developed world, so people are free, then they are free from mind too, they make the decision for themselves.
Yeah.
So the meaning is totally different in Asia and other parts.
A lot of things are just politics. It's like the recent the blasting. Yeah, a lot of things. The first reaction, a lot of people would think, oh, some Muslim did this.
Yeah.
But then at a situation like this, I would explain to my dad, this U.S. politics doesn't mean that every time it's the Islamic group behind it. So gradually, I think they get to know it. They get the big picture. Yes, or sometimes they ask me why you don't eat pork, and then I have to explain it's not just about pork. It's a lot of things that we don't eat. But in China, because a lot of people eat pork, so you think not eating pork is very special.
As Fatima and Ahmad embark on their new phase of life, what would be their aspirations and hopes for the Muslims in China?
Some of our families were thinking to start a free class for local Muslim kids, because a lot of them, they migrated to Shanghai from the other cities, port, and then their families are very busy with their businesses. So usually, and then in China we have this household registration system. If you're not from the city, sometimes it's very difficult to get into schools. So I started this by myself. 1 year ago, last Ramadan, I was thinking maybe I could do something. So I put a message on my blog and saying I'm overseas qualified, and then I want to teach any Muslim kids for free if you want to come to my home. Because I was thinking, why in Canada the environment is so good? Why in China it's not? So I observed, and I think in Canada there are more Muslims in many different industries and in mainstream society. But in China, they're basically all restrained in this Lanzhou business. A lot of them are only running small business, and then they don't communicate with the Han people. So they don't understand. There's no communication, no understanding. Yeah. So I think maybe if we can help these kids to get into the mainstream, to be engineers, teachers, business people, government officers, then maybe they can spread the religion, and then there will be less misunderstandings. Yeah. So that was my purpose.
I think I often say this thing, that now these reverted Muslims, they are really hope for Islamic Ummah than we born Muslims. I think they are the bigger hope than us. But same time, of course, we should improve ourselves. Like I said, we should be a more quality Muslims. Like she said, yeah. We are in mainstream. Our kids are in mainstream. So we don't need to do even dawah. It is itself a biggest form of a dawah. When you are a quality, you are a practicing Muslim, and you are not harming anybody. You are spreading your message by your action. We should practice. We should try as much. Of course, we have weaknesses. We are human beings, but we should try our best up to the level best that we should be a quality Muslim.
My hope was, like what I said, I hope in China Muslim can get to in the mainstream and be in every corner, do every kind of job. And inshallah, if not everybody can be Muslim, at least there will be less misunderstanding.
As Shanghai entered the 21st century, it also entered a new phase of development as the melting pots of different cultures and thinkings. With its status as a modern metropolitan city of China, it has attracted many new waves of Muslim migrants internally and externally. These are mostly courageous young people who came all the way to realize their dreams. After much soul-searching, rarely seen before in other born Muslims, we can see a new movement amongst the revert Muslims where there is a new awareness of their Muslim identity to embrace fully the Islamic lifestyle and to build bridges in hopes of earning mutual respect and understanding.